Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we're going to be looking at a more niche product and something more within my wheelhouse of stuff that I actually perform at my gigs, and that is tarot spells by Jermay. An interesting product that at its price range may not be accessible to a lot of people, and honestly even at that price range may not be worth it even for some seasoned performers, and I'm going to tell you why right after the intro. Perfect, so you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about tarot spells. So what is Tarot Spells by Jermay? Tarot Spells is essentially a PDF that will allow you to learn how to give readings anywhere, anytime, with anything. So being able to do tarot readings just by talking to someone, being able to do tarot readings with something in someone's pocket, change, being able to do tarot readings with the person's latest picture in their photo album, essentially being able to give a tarot reading that's accurate to someone based on anything that you would want in that specific moment, eliminating the need for you to have a tarot deck with you at all times. That's what tarot spells will allow you to do. So in terms of performance, I can't really do a performance to you because I don't have a living spectator here to perform this for, but essentially you could just walk up to someone and say, hey, I just want you to go in on your phone and among your last 5 pictures, choose one that you like, the one that attracts you the most within the 5 last ones. Even if it's a screenshot of something completely random and that's the one that you care most about, pull it up. They pull it up and then you're able to give them a 3 to 4 minute reading based on a random picture that they decided to pull and give them something that they'll remember for a very long time. That's what tarot spells will allow you to do. So before we dig deep into exactly what this is, let's talk about where you purchase this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy this directly from Jermay himself. You can go to his website, you can go on Jermay, you just type his name, Tarot Spells, and you'll find it. It'll probably be the first link online. This will set you back 2 price points. One of 225, I believe it's pounds, which is around 400 Canadian dollars, or 1,750 pounds, which is like 3,000, 4,000 Canadian dollars, which is abysmal in terms of price. It's insane, but there is a difference. The cheaper one is the normal effect, and you're allowed to perform it at all your gigs as long as they're not televised, or they're done for TV, or they're done for a radio show, or anything public. So anything where you would be making this effect in the public sphere, where people of a higher order, let's say, are filming you, you are not allowed to do this effect with the normal package. But for 99%, as it says in the ad copy, you'll be able to perform tarot spells in all of your gigs. But for those that only perform on like the biggest of stages where it's televised, for Netflix specials, TV, you do an appearance on CBC or whatever, and you're performing tarot spells, then you need to buy the more expensive version. Now, both versions are extremely expensive, and I'm lucky enough that this was a gift to me by a friend. They bought this for me because they know I love tarot and I love Jermay, so they bought this for me. But even though this was gifted to me, I'm not going to review it as, oh, it was free. I'm going to review it as if I actually paid the money for this to, so it's a legitimate review in your eyes. So what do you get with your purchase of tarot spells? You're essentially going to be getting a booklet that is going to be around 68 or 70 pages long. And in this, he's going to teach you everything that you need to know about the system, how it works, how you implement it, examples. He's going to give you cheat sheets. He's going to give you a lot of stuff that you need to know in order to make this system your own and apply to everything that you do. Because this is not a trick. This is a reading system. This is something that you learn, and once you have it, you'll have it in your head for the rest of your life, so that no matter any scenario, any object, you can do it even with questions, anything in front of you, you're able to give a tarot reading with utmost accuracy. That is what you're going to be getting here. It's well explained, it's well written, it has examples. So you're getting that PDF. So if for a lot of people, 70 pages, is it really worth £225? That's a question that you have to put on your own performing environment, and I'll give you my opinion on that a bit later. But having said that, let's get into, is this difficult? Is this difficult to perform? And the answer is no. Once you read the PDF and once you read the information, you're essentially going to be able to put this into practice almost immediately. Because yes, he gives you guides and a skeleton, and if you want, you can memorize his skeleton and run with it. But if you make it your own skeleton, then it's going to be in your head much faster and much easier. So you don't really have to memorize anything. Because I feel brute forcing his skeleton is useful, obviously, and you can do readings just like he does. But if you make your own or use some things that, for example, for him are obvious, you can keep half of his skeleton and the other half you make up your own, which is kind of what I did. It helps me do it in that way that the things that he saw as obvious were obvious to me as well, but some things I'm like, those are not obvious to me. I'll use my own interpretation, and I applied that. So it was, I won't say an immediate learn, but in a week or so, I was able to do this, and I even did it at a gig where it got amazing reactions. I think I talked about this. It was the bachelorette party where I even had spectators cry because I used this system in pair with his tarot psychometry routine, and it worked wonders. So it does really work, and you can apply it to anything. You know, I've been doing readings to people here and there, and I've been using this, and it works to perfection. And I'm not really in the moment trying to memorize something like, oh my God, I need to remember X, Y, Z. No, it comes naturally. So yes, at the start, if you're not familiar with tarot cards and giving readings, you'll have to put in a bit of practice. But if not, it's relatively achievable by almost everyone. Now let's talk about, what do you need in order to perform? Well, what do you need? A spectator, and that's it. You don't need any other props. Obviously, if you want to bring your own props to spice up the presentation, if it's at a paid gig, by all means do so. But just for the effect, you do not need any props. You don't need any creep sheets, any phones, any tarot cards, nothing. You just show up and you can use this system to its fruition, which means that all for the rest of what I usually talk in kind of practicality is null, because you don't need a table, you don't need a reset, you don't need, there's no angles, there's no inspectability issues, there's no table requirements or anything like that. The only requirement is that you don't want to perform this in a club where there's like music so that no one hears what you're saying. That's probably the only thing that you need to keep in mind when you are talking about this system. Now, where would you perform? This kind of pairs with the last part, is that you would perform this either pretty much anywhere you do your magic, except in super loud environments where people are not focused. Because you can literally do a card trick and then input some information in the middle of your card trick from this system, and the card trick literally becomes a reading in between a card trick. So you're elevating a card trick 10 times fold into what it was, because you're just using the system in the middle of it. Because sometimes, you know, you're doing a card trick and someone may say something as a joke and say, you know, that's actually interesting. And then you give them a reading and they're going to be like, what? And so, you know, if you never said that joke in this moment, you could have never felt this connection, blah, blah, blah. And you can develop that in the moment, right? So this can be done pretty much anywhere, even through Zoom, telephone. You can even call someone and do it through the phone. It can be applied anywhere. So now that we've discussed that, what are the positives and negatives of tarot spells? First, let's get into the negatives. One of the negatives, in my opinion, and as you know, I do this very rarely, but I think this is very expensive. You know, I was fortunate enough to get it for free from a friend, and even then, I feel that this is a lot of money for the system. The system works, the system is good, the system is accurate, but the system is extremely expensive. You know, if you want, you can go in Luke Jermay's, I think it's public now, tarot group, where there's like, I think over 25 hours of content of him talking about tarot. It's specifically the Marseille, but you know, if you're just willing to learn about tarot, there's so many cheaper resources. You know, as I said, tarot psychometry by him is one of my favorite effects of all time. Costs, you know, not even a quarter of the price. I think it costs a fifth of the price of this of this document. So it really depends on you how much you want to put yourself into this world of tarot. Because let's say if you're a tarot reader and you get paid $100 per 30 minutes for a reading, you can literally elevate those readings even higher with the system, and in 2.5 readings you've paid the download and you've made yourself a better performer. So that's something you need to keep in mind. If you're a performer and you perform a lot, then this is a no-brainer. But if you're not, and you are more of a hobbyist or a beginner tarot reader, I don't think this is necessarily the best resource for you to take it to the next step, okay? In terms of positive, it's extremely well written. The system works. It's easy to learn, easy to do anywhere, anytime. You can do it even, as I said, on the phone, through Zoom, wherever you want. It can elevate all of your magic tricks that you do. It can make you literally just do tarot readings for the whole event. You can just do that with nothing in your pocket. It's pack small, plays huge, it's emotional, it's impactful, and most importantly, this is the aspect that really matters, is however you want to call them, your spectators, your participants, the person you're giving a reading for, they love it. They really connect with it, and I can tell that from first-hand experience because I actually use this in real life and at a gig, and as I said, people started crying because of how accurate my readings were based off of nothing. I was able to tell someone that they moved recently with someone that's important in their life, and that person literally started crying because there was no way that I could just sense that based on a simple drawing that she made, which was completely unrelated to that. So again, would I recommend this? It's a pro and con. If you're a working professional and you can afford this and you like doing tarot or already do tarot in your effects and you get paid a hefty amount for your gigs, then I think this is definitely worth it. If not, I think there's better resources, cheaper resources, more efficient resources for any magician or mentalist that just wants to get into tarot, or if you just want to include one tarot effect in your repertoire, look at tarot psychometry, look at a ton of other effects that will help you, in that regard. This is really if you want to be a purist on tarot and really love it and could even want to make it a profession. This is definitely a resource that you would want in that case. Except for that, what do I rate it out of 10? I think it's fantastic. I think it's good. Again, I never, even if I say something is expensive, I never put the monetary value in my rating because I feel that wouldn't be, justified. But even if it's expensive, I think it's great. I'm giving it an 8.75 on 10. And that's all I have to say about Tarot Spells by Luc Jermay. If you have any additional questions, list them down below. If not, I'll see you all in my next review. Have a great one, and bye-bye.